Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Shannon here with Back to the Cardboard, and today we're taking a road trip. I've got to head north, so I figured I would try and stop at a few flea markets or peddlers malls or vendors malls or whatever you want to call it, and see what I could find on my journey. So let's get to it. So I'll make it to my first Peddlers Mall, and walking in the door, man, it looked promising. It's a big mall, a lot of knickknacks here and there, cases, and usually in those type of environments, you find some cards somewhere stashed away in a corner, maybe back in a little cubby hole, or maybe sometimes even in the cases. And the way these malls are set up is, you've got different sections that's divided off for a vendor. And each vendor has their own tag on their item and they're numbered. So when you get to the register with your item, they know who to charge it to or who to put it on whose account, whatever you're purchasing. And I walked around this thing a couple different times just looking at what they had for sale, and I was amazed. I did not find the first baseball card or a trading card game card. No Pokemon, no Yu-Gi-Oh, no Magic. It was really bizarre. And usually a vendor's mall or peddler's mall this size has something. I did find a few starting lineups, as you will see, and just a few odds and ends sports stuff. They had a few Hot Wheels here and there, and just some random knick-knack NASCAR stuff. You see here's some of the starting lineups I found, mostly basketball. There was a couple, I think, baseball here and there, but for the most part, this was really a strikeout, I thought. There's a football, a Heisman Trophy starting lineup. I thought that was pretty cool, but just not really up my alley, so to speak. See the back there. And I was somewhat disappointed, but I did find something and I will share it with you. So let's move on to the next stop on the Trail of Tears. Ha, just kidding. So about this portion of my journey, I was ready to take a bathroom break and grab something to drink. And guess what came about? A Buc-ee's. I don't know if you guys have had a pleasure to stop at any Buc-ee's gas station, filling station, whatever it is. It's not really a truck stop because they don't allow trucks there. But this one was bustling with business. I mean, like crazy. It was backed all the way out to the interstate to get inside. And I didn't do any filming inside because, man, it was wall to wall people. You got about 100 pumps out there, and they were all just about full. So let's do this real quick stop, and then I'll get back on the road. So here's another one of Kentucky's well-kept secrets. It's called L8, and it's bottled and manufactured here in the great state of the Bluegrass. And it's kind of like a ginger ale, I guess, sort of. But it's really good. I like it quite a bit. It's kind of hard to find outside of the state. Of course, I got the 0 sugar version because it tastes just like the regular version. So, thank you, Buc-ee's. That was crazy. So to make it into our next vendor's mall, and this one had a lot more promise. Right off the bat, as soon as I walked in the doors, here were all these cases with baseball cards and basketball cards, coins, of course. There was some Yu-Gi-Oh! So that showed a lot of promise. So I kind of went back and forth through these and kind of went around the different vendors, and there was probably 5 or 6 different places that had baseball cards or sporting goods, and it was a really interesting mall. You can see some of the glass cases here. There was a Cal Ripken Jr. commemorative mint statue there. I never priced it. I don't know how much it was. Here's some statues, bobbleheads, looks like. There's several 5,000 count boxes or whatever they are, 3,000 count boxes, and different things. As thought might interest you guys. I don't know. Some pretty cool photographs here. There's a Play Ball Super Collector pack. And they had a lot of junk wax vendors, of course. Here's some starting lineup stuff, some Wheaties, Big Mac here. There was comic books, Hot Wheels, the typical stuff. So let's pause. There's my love of my life. Let's pause this and I'll let you see what I picked up from this mall. So I realize I'm 7.5 minutes into this video and I haven't even shown the first baseball card. And I apologize for that. If you're still here with me, man, kudos to you. And if you've left, I don't blame you. Anyway, first thing knocked my camera over. First thing I picked up, and this was 99 cents, and I thought it was a pretty good deal. The Topps cereal cards. It wasn't a complete set. They're missing like the Nolan Ryan, the Andre Dawson, Ricky Henderson out of it. And there's a couple doubles in there. Big Dave Winfield. A couple Tom Seavers. That was a bonus. Jim Rice. There's my man, Mr. Dale Murphy. I'm going to be doing a episode on him pretty soon. Another great hitter. George Brett. There's Ricky. So Ricky was in there. Nolan Ryan I know is gone. Steve Carlton. Rod Carew. Steve Garvey. Shout out to Mike's Mr. October Moore. Reggie Jackson. Got a couple bonuses here. Dave Concepcion. Robin Yount. Greatest third baseman of all time, in my opinion. Mike Schmidt. Mr. GQ. Mr. Jim Palmer. Mad Dog Bill Madlock. Great underrated catcher there, Gary Carter. Pedro Guerrero, look at there. Keith Hernandez, a couple of those, and finish it up with Carlton Fisk, but that is the, what year is that? Topps cereal, I want to say it's 85, maybe? 84. It's 84. So, then I picked these up. We'll go from newest to oldest. Thought this, do not own a Joey Votto in a Blue Jays uniform. How weird is that? Flip it over, look at the back. You see all his stats. Mr. OPS, he batted, his OPS was what, 1, 2, 3, 4 times over 1,000. And then he just missed it 3 or 4 times on top of that. Ended up his career in a 64.4 WAR. That to me is really kind of borderline, I think. But there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame with his WAR way less than that. But I had to get this card. It was like 99 cents or something like that. Kind of sad to see him in a Blue Jays uniform, but it is what it is. And then a couple older cards. Got a real nice Tom Seaver. Got a dinged up corner there. I don't care. See the back there. I love this guy. 77 tops. Then we got 79 here of Gaylord Perry. Look at that look on his face. Determination right there. Just a back on that one. And then, not last and certainly not least, we got a 23 Shohei Ohtani 35th anniversary. Look at that. Picked this up for like $1.99, I think it was. Versus after the 88s. Ohtani, possibly the MVP in the National League this year. And then last but not least, and this card here was my favorite of them all. Check it out. Mr. Bob Gibson. Let's see the back there. That's a beautiful example. Paid up for this one. This is $6 or $7, I think it was. I did not have a 74 Gibson. So anyway, that's all I got at that Peddlers Mall. Moving on to the last one in line. And real quick, I'll show you what I picked up from there. And then we'll call it good. So I stopped at a little mom and pop this and that thrift store. It was a little smaller than the other two stores, but still, I found something there. And first off, I found this 93 Kirby Puckett ginormous bat edition. This is the Topps Gold. Get the glare off of it from my light. I've always seen this card and thought it was pretty hilarious. I think Kirby did too. I got a couple of kid cards here. Ken Griffey Jr. This is the 2000 SPX. See the back there. Shiny card. Another Fleer Skybox. I'd never seen this card before. 2004 Autographics is what it's called. There's no auto on it nowhere. And then it got a 2003 Topps Gallery. Willie Mays. I think these last two here I thought were pretty neat. I hadn't seen these either. These are our 2003 Upper Deck magazine. I guess you tore them out of the, assume Upper Deck had a magazine then. See the back here. Got a couple of these, and these are multi-sport cards that was in there. I did a little research, and you got some LeBron James, some Michael Jordan, some golf cards. I think there's a couple other baseball cards as well. I ended up getting two. Got the Ichiro and the Mickey Mantle. But that's all I got from that little this and that store. I thought, not bad finds. You had to dig around for them. I ended up getting into a glass case and pulling a little box out and sorted through it. Paid like $1 a piece for these cards, so it wasn't bad at all. So that's not all I got. I forgot to share my very first stop with you guys for what I picked up. I got one thing and one thing only. No cards. There was no baseball cards there whatsoever. But I did find this right here. Yep, Casey at the Bat. I thought it's a cool little book. It's got some really neat illustrations in it, and it tells the story, Casey at Bat. I'm sure you guys have heard that that poem, and it's really cool. See, it's got all the different illustrations and stuff like that in it. Cool little bitty book. Paid a couple bucks for it. Pretty cool find, I thought. Anyway, that's all I got, guys. Hey, thanks for tuning into this crazy video. If you've stuck around this long, let me know. You deserve something, that's for sure. Anyway, remember, collect what you love what you collect, and keep swinging for the fences, because you know why? Because one day you're going to connect and it's going to sell out of here. Yes, sir. Anyway, peace, guys. Bye. Casey at the bat. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the Mudville Nine that day. The score stood 4-2 with but one inning more to play. And then when Cooney died at first and Barrels died the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of the game. A straggling few got up to go in deep despair. The rest clung to the hope which springs eternal in the human breast. They thought if only Casey could but get a whack at that, we put up even more money now with Casey at the bat. But Flynn preceded Casey, as did also Jimmy Blake, and the former was a Lulu, and the latter was a cake. So upon the stricken multitude grim melancholy sat, for there seemed but little chance of Casey's getting to the bat. But Flynn let drive a single to the wonderment of all, and Blake, the much despised, tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had lifted and the men saw what had occurred, there was Jimmy safe at second, and Flynn a hugging third. Then from 5,000 throats and more there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley, it rattled in the dale. It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat, for Casey, mighty Casey, was advancing to the bat. There was ease in Casey's manner as he stepped into his place. There was pride in Casey's bearing and a smile on Casey's face. And when responding to the cheers, he lightly doffed his hat. No stranger in the crowd could doubt 'twas Casey at the bat. 10,000 eyes were on him as he rubbed his hands with dirt. 5,000 tongues applauded when he wiped them on his shirt. Then while the writhing pitcher ground the ball into his hip, defiance gleamed in Casey's eyes, sneer curled Casey's lip. And now the leather-covered sphere came hurtling through the air, and Casey stood a-watching it in haughty grandeur there. Close by the sturdy batsman the ball unheeded sped. "That ain't my style," said Casey. "Strike one," the umpire said. From the benches black with people there went up a muffled roar, like the beating of the storm waves on a stern and distant shore. "Kill him! Kill the umpire!" shouted someone on the stand, and it likely they'd have killed him had not Casey raised his hand. With a smile of Christian charity, great Casey visage shone. He stilled the rising tumult. He bade the game go on. He signaled to the pitcher, and once more the spheroid flew, but Casey still ignored it, and the umpire said, "Strike two!" "Fraud!" cried the maddened thousands, and echo answered fraud. But one scornful look from Casey, and the audience was awed. They saw his face grew stern and cold, they saw his muscles strain, and they knew that Casey wouldn't let the ball go by again. The sneer is gone from Casey's lip, his teeth are clenched in hate. He pounds with cruel violence his bat upon the plate. And now the pitcher holds the ball, and now he lets it go. And now they are shattered by the force of Casey's blow. Oh, somewhere in his favored land the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. But there is no joy in Mudville. Mighty Casey has struck out.